What's up, guys? Somebody let me know in the comments if you can hear me loud and clear. We are live on location. It just got dark here in Lima, Peru. And what's really kind of weird is Lima, Peru shares the same time zone as Eastern Standard Time. So they don't participate in daylight savings time. So right now it is the same time at home that it is here. So that was actually one of my big perks of coming here instead of Morocco or Madrid. I had a few. If you guys remember, this is a trip that I canceled, I think, 5 times. John R., thank you, sir, so much. John's hitting us with a 2 spot already. Appreciate you, sir. But if you go back, I had this trip planned, I think, 5 times. This trip started as a trip to Peru. Then it was changed to Japan. And then it was changed to Madrid, Spain. Then it was changed to Morocco. And I eventually changed it back to Lima, Peru. And I don't know if I'm glad I did it, but this is really a cool spot, and we're going to talk about it. Pachabi says Peru again. We've only been here once, but yeah. Okay, I'm sorry. Boxer, what's up, Luke House? But Peru is warm, sunny. The people are nice. And it's a really interesting place, and I want to talk about why I think it's interesting here in just a couple of minutes. So I want to get through these comments. Right reactions. Hey, we are going to make South America points popular again, man. We're going to make these redemptions popular, and I'm going to tell you why you need to add South America to your lists of kind of your adventures or whatever you want to call it, your solo trips, your adventures, your not quite vacations. We're going to talk about some of that. Wonderful coffee, Memphis Mike. We've had some wonderful coffee. Yeah, I did it. We'll talk about that in a minute. I did a food tour. I think it was yesterday. A lot of these days are just blurring together. So we definitely did some coffee. Let me see. Okay, you guys can hear me just fine. That's awesome. Caleb's ready to rock. Me too, big guy. John R. says we're loud and clear. Fun is in Lima too. What's up, Fun? Hope you're having a good time. Oh, he's at the Holiday Inn in Miraflores. I am at the Radisson in Miraflores. Going home tomorrow. I'm going home Saturday. So we could have hooked up, man. We should have hooked up. I don't know if you're South American or if you would have known some better places to go or what, but let us know what you did, and let us know if you disagree with anything I say during this live. Because I want to talk about some things good and bad. PG, what's up, man? Xavier ID's in the house. X-Man. Okay. Rajhav Suresh. Have I tried the ceviche yet? Listen, man. I did a food tour yesterday. And I am not at all an adventurous eater. But I told myself while I'm here, I'm going to just, who cares? Try it. And the one thing I told him I probably would not want would be the ceviche. We went to this Japanese restaurant, and this guy made it in front of us. And this is super interesting. If you guys don't know what ceviche is, it's kind of a raw seafood salad, kind of. Look it up. It's long story short, it was so super good. But I didn't know this, but you cook raw fish in lime juice. The lime juice, the acid in the lime juice cooks the fish. But anyway, Suresh, magnificent ceviche. It was so good with the big fat pieces of corn in there and all that good stuff. Loved it. Go to the pyramids. I'm going to do that tomorrow. I think like the last thing I do. Ranks is how are the ladies? Well, I'm an old married man, so I don't really comment on the ladies, but I will say this. There are a lot of beautiful people here in Peru. And when I have tour guides, I really ask like questions that I don't think they're used to being asked. So what I've gotten from the population here is Peru obviously had indigenous folks other than the Incas on the coast. Incas are more inland in the Andes and in Cusco and Machu Picchu and all that. But so you have indigenous folks, different indigenous folks in Peru. Then you introduce Spanish conquistadors, and large populations of Spanish people. Then you introduce African slaves and you introduce the Chinese after slavery is abolished. And from what I've understood from what these Peruvians are telling me, these people from Lima are telling me, is they are an amalgamation of all of that. And they've created this, I hate to say it, it sounds corny, but they've really created this beautiful people. The dark skin, the hair, it's really good looking people. So while I don't really comment on the ladies because I'm an old married man and I'm not in the game in any way, shape, or form, a lot of pretty people here. Rem, I'm not going to Machu Picchu. Here's a really I make a lot of mistakes in my travel and in my life, but I was kind of the thought that Machu Picchu might be a day trip from Lima. And it turns out Machu Picchu is a really, really far away from Lima. So to do Machu Picchu, I would have to add 3 or 4 days to my trip. And I just don't have time to do anything like that. So I'm not going to Machu Picchu. And a lot of people think I'm crazy to come all the way to Peru and not go to Machu Picchu. But it's what I did. I chose Peru, really a random world city to go visit. This is a great question. This is a really good question. Okay, so do I feel safe in Lima? Okay, so Lima is generally considered a very safe city in South America. Very safe. However, with the struggles and tribulations, trials in other countries, they have had some a criminal element immigrate to Lima and Peru and Lima in particular. So they have trouble in Venezuela. They have gangs. They have this and that. There are a ton of seedy characters that have introduced a gang element here in Lima. I haven't really seen any of that. And even talking to my tour guides and the people, I can't tell the difference between a Venezuelan person and a Peruvian person very well. He says you can tell by the accent. I don't speak Spanish and I can't tell by the accent. So I have not run into any Venezuelan gangsters. But here's my story about the safety. It's generally accepted that the districts or neighborhoods in Lima for tourism is Miraflores and Barrancos. And there are a lot of other districts that are not considered safe for tourists. They're not considered for tourists at all. So one day I took an Uber to the north side of Lima, to a place where I've seen on the internet that it's real Lima. It's not touristy, and it's outside of it's a shopping mall, and then outside of the shopping mall are some neighborhoods. So I went there. I pretty much just walked through the mall and went to the neighborhoods, and I was the only gringo that I saw for 3 hours. No cap, that's as the kids say, but not one single gringo anywhere. And I got to see a real side of Lima, and I thought it was super cool. No one bothered me. No one made me feel unsafe. But here's the funny part. I told 2 different tour guides where I went, and they just started laughing. And they would tell the driver he went to Mega Plaza Norte, and they just start laughing because it's not safe apparently. But they all said, just because of the way I look, I'm probably not going to get bothered by people. And I didn't go there at night. I'm not silly, but I feel safe pretty much everywhere, but I also don't go certain places at night. And I don't go around certain elements of society that have a lot of issues and problems. I don't do drugs. I don't look for women. And I don't even drink. I have a beer in my refrigerator that's just sitting there that I haven't drank. So for me, I feel safe. I always joke with Cesar Joel, I'm way too heavy to kidnap, and no one will pay for my ransom anyway. So I feel safe. I would recommend normal people to stay in the touristy areas. I wouldn't recommend very many people go where I went, but I loved it. I think it was really cool. Super cool. Oh, Caleb's going to the Detroit game. Man, I'm jealous. I'm a Bengals fan, but my family really likes the culture and the direction the Lions are going, and we also like the colors. Can't deny that. Thomas Hapiak, what's up, man? Lima's on the list. Looking for okay, so we'll get more. I'm going to clear out some of these questions, and I'll talk about a lot of stuff with Lima. And thanks for the safety question because I forgot about that. I didn't actually put that on my list. Francis, what's up? Oh, the Inca ruins in Cusco. Yeah, that would be cool. I don't think I'm going to do that, but yeah, Memphis Mike. The lime juice, the acid in the lime juice cooks the fish in 2 minutes. I know there's some chefs and some food people on here if they could explain it better, but so good, man. I'm so glad I kind of turned off my apprehension for eating because I've had some great stuff. Yeah, Boxer. When they, from what I understand, and don't quote me, I'm not a historian. I'm not an expert. But after slavery was abolished, they brought in a large amount of Chinese immigrants for a lot of the heavy lifting and a lot of the undesirable jobs. Therefore, they have a huge Chinese influence with food. They have a Chinatown here, stuff like that. But from what I gather, like in the United States, you have separate groups, and some of these other countries, like Panama, for instance, all those groups kind of came together. So they're kind of a melting pot now. Very cool, though. Todd, hit us with a 5 spot. Appreciate you, Todd. Absolutely. Is there a big language barrier? I would say, at least for me, I don't speak Spanish. I can recognize some words. I would say they do not speak a lot of English, even in the city of Lima, Peru. I would say most of the people I'm dealing with don't speak English. Tour guides, yes. You'll run into some people who can say some things and communicate a little bit, but I would say 90+% of the people that I've been around do not speak any English at all, which I did not expect that. I thought it would be a lot more English speakers, but it's not. But everybody has a Google Translate on their phone. So if you really need to communicate with people that can read, obviously not everyone can read Spanish or English. So I haven't had much of a problem, but yeah, pretty big language barrier. I kind of go with grunts and whistles and hand gestures. Yeah. Fun says he feels very safe in Miraflores. The only part of Miraflores I think some folks maybe should be careful is there's a couple bar districts with the nightlife. And I was there last night, and just about every person that was kind of associated with the bars and the nightlife offered me drugs and women. I don't sit there and entertain them and talk to them. I just no thank you because I'm not interested in that. But I would say if you were to get caught up in that, you could be in some unsafe situations. But everywhere else in Miraflores, and also take this with a grain of salt, guys. I go to bed at 10 o'clock. So from what everyone's told me, the nightlife is very late. So it doesn't start until midnight or 1 o'clock. So I can't tell you about it. I'm asleep. Skipping Machu Picchu. You need the altitude in Machu Picchu. And it's also apparently in Cusco, it's rainy season. So it's very difficult hiking, and it's very difficult travel there right now. That's a good question. How's safety in Lima when compared to Panama City? Man, it's a tough question for me. I don't want to sound arrogant, but safety is not generally an issue for me really anywhere because I'm streetwise and street smart. I don't get into those elements where it becomes dangerous, and I'm 250 pounds. There's not a bunch of Peruvians that could kidnap me. I might take like 20 of them. So Panama, I would say I never felt unsafe in Panama, but I never felt unsafe in either one of them. And I walked around everywhere in Panama. I'd say they're pretty close. I think they're pretty close with safety. as long as you're smart, I think you're good in both those places. Now, if you wander off into some of those other things, I don't care what city you're in. If you're into dirty women and drugs, you're not totally safe. I did go to Mega Plaza. Yeah, I went to Mega Plaza and walked around all the neighborhoods around there, and it was so cool. They told me that I should not have done that, but it was the highlight of my trip. It was such a really cool thing just to be the only gringo walking around. This is a great question. So I do have this. Let me I'm going to stick with the questions for a while, and then I'm going to get into some of the stuff I wanted to talk about. So we may address all the things I wanted to talk about just with the questions. Are they taking the gold card? So you guys know, I think I mentioned before that I am mostly using my Savor One and Venture X for this trip. And the first thing people say is, oh, American Express is definitely accepted in so many different places. I've seen the American Express sign on a lot of these places, so I don't think it is accepted in some places. However, I ate lunch today at the cafe across the street, and they would not accept my American Express Gold Card. So I used, even though my setup is Savor and Capital One Venture X, I used the Sapphire Reserve. They do mobile pay for everything here. Almost any kind of restaurant, you can do the mobile pay. But the one time I tried to use my gold card, they said no. And that's why I don't pull it out overseas. Yeah, Ian's only white guy. And here's the thing. Some people will say I'm the only one that looks like me, so I feel uncomfortable and I feel not totally safe. No. The only people that really gave me any kind of look were children. Children looked at me really crazy. Everybody else, no problems. No. Now I'm also not really engaging with a bunch of people and trying to start up conversations because they can't understand me anyway. But no, nobody bothered me. I felt, like I said, daytime, and even I will say this: I was most likely in some areas where I should not have been, but I still felt okay. What's up, Call Me Lonnie? Guys, if you guys are not watching Call Me Lonnie's channel, check it out. The dude has amazing production quality. He has a style and he has a perspective that's a little bit different than mine, a little bit different than other folks. Check it out. Boxer says he goes to the sketchy areas, and this is if you're looking for trouble, you'll find it anywhere. 100%, man. Or if you're stupid, and I'm not afraid to use that word. If you're stupid, and this is my biggest definition of stupid. If you're in a strange place, don't go get drunk. If you're in a strange place, don't go get drunk by yourself. If you're in a strange place, don't get drunk by yourself and go looking for drugs or dirty girls. That's really stupid. If you're doing normal tourist stuff or normal human being stuff, you'll be good. You'll be just fine. I don't have anything against drinking, but if you're drinking too much by yourself, bad guys can see that. Bad guys can key into that, and bad guys will target you. Have you tried eating cuy yet? Which one's cuy? Because I'm having really a lot of trouble with the names. But if you tell me what cuy is, I ate a lot of stuff the last 2 days. I ate ceviche. I ate cow's heart. That might be what cuy is. I don't know. Cow heart, empanadas. Today we went to this market in what they kind of call the shanty towns, like the homemade houses up in the mountains. And I went to a market, like a really real local market. And part of the tour was we bought stuff everywhere. And I ate stuff that looked like and had the consistency of snot. Ate just all kinds of different stuff. And the crazy part, like I have a picture. I didn't post it on my Instagram yet, but I'll post it on my Instagram. A Incan woman was selling a drink, and I'm not sure exactly what it was, but everything's fermented, so it's alcoholic, I guess. But it looked like dirty water, and he said, "You want some?" Yeah, I'll take some. everything I tried tasted good. Everything I tried was really good. Now I'm not going to sit there with a spoon and slop up snot for 10 minutes. I only ate just a little bit, but it was tasty. But no, I can't eat snot. A lot of the drinks, like the maca drink, they kind of liquefy. Uh, what's it? Couscous? Not couscous. What? It's I don't know anything you can think of. I have not tried the guinea pig yet, and only because I haven't seen it. If you have time, check out Cusco. Yeah, I'm not gonna make it this time. And if I'm completely honest, I have so many places on my list to go. I don't know if I'll ever come back to Peru. Oh, Pivillaran. If I'm a local, if you want to do some sort of meetup, I can show you the safe areas. Yeah, at San Ysidro. I'm not really interested in going to San Ysidro. I don't. And here's the thing, man. I would love to meet up and have a beer or go somewhere. But if I'm with a local guy, I can go to. I don't have to be in the safe places. You could take me to the real places. Yeah. Message either my Instagram or whatever. Just message it and we'll link up after this, or at least talk after this. I did not go to San Ysidro for anything. I have been in Barranco, Miraflores, Plaza Norte. I went to the Centro Lima. But I only have one full day left, so I'm thinking about what to do there. My main man, my Filipino head of my personal security when I'm in Las Vegas, Glenn Ardonia. How's the weather? It's a unique weather. It's low 70s, really hot in the sun, kind of cool in the shade. But I guess you would call that perfect. Love the weather here. Love it. It's lower altitude than Cusco. Okay. Yeah. Oh, no, you don't have all buses to go there. Yeah, I that might be something that I actually come back and do it. Mega Plaza has some great fish plates and roast beef spots. Yeah, yeah, and it had all kinds of. Mega Plaza had a lot of stuff. Saw a lot of cool stuff there. Saw a lot of what I kind of thought was real Peruvian life, and yeah, it's really cool. It was funny because every local guy that I'd say I went there, they start like at first they don't believe me, then they start laughing. Let's all contribute to Uncle Luke's Rosetta Stone Fund. And you laugh, but I am going to slowly immerse myself in Spanish. And that's kind of what I wanted to talk about with the South American redemptions. I'll share something that's kind of funny. I have a lot to catching up to do, but I'll make this quick. I'll make this quick and let me, I grew up in the Midwest, and the only thing we were ever taught about South America was there were indigenous folks in South America. They were conquered by the Spaniards, and that's it. So growing up, and even just until recently, not counting the Caribbean part, but everything from Mexico South, most of the people that come from where I come from, we think that's all the same. Couldn't be any further from the truth. Every one of those countries is completely different. They do share, most of them, that they were colonized by Spain or Portugal or some type of colonial power, but they are all super different. And now that I know that, I feel I am super ignorant, but I really want to visit these countries because one, Lima, for instance, I think is safe. It's not expensive. It's very interesting. It's got great weather, great food, happy people. So there's a lot of places I want to go to now. In the same time zone. That helps. I promise it helps. Okay, Supra's interested in Peru. Do it, man. It was a random pick. Amex has taken every place in Lima, and Cusco that I visited. Okay, so and I did see that when they put the stickers like the Visa, MasterCard, Amex, I did see that in most places. Just so happens the one place I tried to use it, it's not accepted. But yeah, I would say that it was probably going to be like a 9 out of 10 for me. Places that would accept it, and I just don't like getting denied. People don't realize how effective the USB altitude reserve is. Not only does it not have foreign transaction fees, you get an effective 4.5% on all your spend. Yeah, I would. I'm going to make a video on that because I completely disagree that you even get 4.5%. Do you get 4 or 5? You don't get cash back at all in that 4.5%, right? Ever? You never really do get physical cash back, and that's only for redeeming certain things, right? You can redeem 4.5% for travel or something like that. Yeah, I'm gonna do some research. I'm gonna dispute that though. Obviously, I'm not a huge fan of the altitude reserve, but fun says I had a tiny Peruvian try to challenge me to a fight today until I stood up and I was twice his size. Yeah, I mean I looked, and that's another thing that was super interesting because I looked and they're like the second or third smallest people in the world. But from what I've seen, I think when they say that, they mean more of the indigenous uh, people from the Andes or the Incas and stuff. Because I've seen a lot of the people in Miraflores and in Lima City. A lot of them are normal height, and I'm not tall, so a lot of them are tall as me or taller. But yeah, that's kind of funny. A tiny Peruvian. They do have some small people. And when we went to the towns, the shanty towns today, they were all very small people. I'll have some pictures on my Instagram of some of the people that wanted pictures with me. Lonnie has some great content. You're absolutely right. Some top-notch content. Sean's new to travel, looking to go overseas this year. Where should I go first? Oh my goodness, man. That's a crazy question. I would there's some easy redemptions. Depending on where you live, I would take something simple and fairly close your first time out, depending on your stress tolerance. But here we go. Oh, cuy is guinea pig. Do that in Cusco, not in Lima. Okay, so I may not get it in Lima, but I definitely wanted to try it. Cuy, yeah. That's what I thought. Brain fart. Most places outside the U.S. do not code the same as U.S. businesses as their business. Yeah, and I've seen that. One word for you: bodegas. All these little tiny bodegas all seem to code as grocery stores for me with Capital One. So I like that. Jonathan's in the house. Oh, Jonathan. Hello, Uncle Luke. Love your content. Enjoy Peru. Thank you, Mr. Martinez. Appreciate you stopping by. Guinea pig in its original form so you can eat the head and the tail. I'm not going to do that. I will eat guinea pig. Not going to eat the head. I'm not going to eat the tail. So I'm full of compromise. Yeah, Lima is one of the biggest foodie places ever. Even the dirt tastes good. I didn't try the dirt. Not yet. Give me another day. Here's I don't even go to the not safe places. It's very unsafe for us that look white. See, I have listen. I have differing opinion on that. And tell me if it's just I've heard so many people say, "Hey, I'm a turbo Caucasian. I look very, very white." So I feel like I'm someone who's going to be targeted or robbed or whatever. I got an opposite feeling about that, man. I'm the whitest person I know, and I feel that because of that, there's better people to target than me. Like I don't feel like I think there's a certain looking person that is targeted, and I don't think that's as based on skin color as some of us think. I think if you're a darker person, but you look weak or you look drunk, you're getting targeted. If you're a white person and you look aware and alert and you're good, you're not going to get targeted. But I understand. It does when no one looks like you, it is kind of cool, or not cool, but you do kind of feel some kind of way. Yeah, I got my hair cut in Peru. One of my new favorite things is to get a haircut wherever I go, just to experience those barbershop things. And I'm going bald. If you guys didn't know, I did. It's held on for a really long time, but I'm about to go ahead and just keep it super like old man short. So I'm okay with it. Peruvian breakfast is amazing. I've had a lot of great food here, man. Would love to know what you like to check out when you travel. Museums, historical sites, art galleries. Well, there's a beach here. I have not been to it yet. I think it's because I've been so busy. I'm not the biggest museum guy in the world. I'm not exactly religious, but I like to go to these churches. I went to a Franciscan church the first full day I was here and visited the catacombs in the basement and all that good stuff. So I do a lot of different stuff. I like the historical sites, not so much the art galleries, and museums are kind of low on the list. I like if they have like a UNESCO historical site, I like seeing that stuff. I like seeing the old architecture. And I do like beaches. I just haven't been to the beach here. I don't think it's an awesome beach, but it's on the list to check out tomorrow. It's hard to get all this stuff in. Because I've walked 60 miles or something, like my whole lower body's really hurting. So I'm trying to fit in as much as I can. Cool grocery store is Wong's Grocery off the main drag. Okay. I'm close to the main drag. Very close. If you take the main drag, is it north? Maybe north to Kennedy Park, I'm off that main drag. John R. has some company in Brazil and Lima. Employees are about half of the South America. Oh, wow. Shipping computers, customs wanting cash payments to pass. Oh, wow. Shipping. Yeah, South America is a little bit different part of the world when it comes to policies and procedures. They have their own, they almost normally have their own way of doing things. Short average is 5'4". Yeah, I think that's about right. We've had my tour guides have been taller, more Spanish looking guys. But yeah, I'm tall in Peru, which is a really big change. Okay, 5'4". Anyone 6 feet? Yeah, there are some. There are, like I said, my tour guide. Here's the thing. Even though they're like an amalgamation of all these different DNAs and different races, there are people who look very, very Chinese and are probably mostly Chinese. There are still very light-skinned Peruvians that are almost certainly very Spanish. So yeah, you'll have a varying of it, but like he said, 5'4" is probably the average. And I think women are 5 foot or 5'2". Bullock, is it the same bullock in the Philippines? Is it chicken egg embryos or something? Guinea pig is good. Didn't touch the tail or head. Yeah, that's a little bit extreme for me. No problems in most. Absolutely. Yeah, John, I think you would like it, John. It's like I said, I think I'm really getting a little bit to where I think a lot of these are world cities. So what that means is Dublin, Ireland is not Ireland anymore. It's a world city. Lima, Peru probably isn't quite Peru anymore. It's a world city. So I think a lot of places are starting to get closer to that. Fun says it's an awesome beach. Okay, I'm gonna check it out. Probably the first thing I do in the morning. Do I book transfers to and from hotels and airports prior to arrival? Here's what I did for this one. I just booked this hotel, and I dream one day of just booking the first night and then finding out where I want to stay and changing it. I don't know if I'll ever do that. I'm going to get into my redemption here for this place. I did book a private car from the airport because I got in at midnight or 11 o'clock, 11 p.m. It's a long travel day, and I wanted to make things as easy and as kind of convenient as possible. So I spent the cash to have a private driver with my name assigned. So, and I'll probably just take an Uber to the airport. But I like to, I like even when I'm with my wife and kids, I like that first day to be. I'll go ahead and spend to make it easier and more convenient. And some places like here they have Uber, easy, and it's very affordable. But I don't need taxi cab drivers. I have a philosophy that taxi cab drivers are really good if you want to find certain things, but those are things I don't look for anymore. So, or I never did anyway. But taxi drivers are good if you're looking for certain things that just aren't for me. Andrew, what's the weirdest thing you've eaten, and would you eat it again? Yeah. Like I said, I was never an adventurous eater. And that sounds lame, but I think that cow heart might have been the weirdest thing I've ever eaten. And it just tasted like a really mineral rich meat. It wasn't anything. I didn't eat it all just because it was cow heart. But yeah, I'm not ashamed. I haven't eaten a whole bunch of weird stuff. Yeah, sorry. I half the stuff I ate in the last 2 days, I don't know what it is anyway. But it was all tasty. It's not cloudy. It's been sunny every day here. So Velmar says he just was here 5 days. Yeah, I heard it was supposed to be cloudy. It's been sunny and really awesome the whole 5 days. I did post a picture on my Instagram. I want to put the video on there. I took a tour where they took us out to this rock and let us swim with sea lions and seals. And the water was super, super cold, but really cool. And that was fun. That was one of the more fun things I did. Let me see here. What do we have? Okay, so this is some of the things I want to talk about. I think I kind of went over this. I've mostly used my Savor and my Capital One Venture X. I did change money when I came here, so I've been using a lot of cash, more so than what I probably would normally use. But I've used Savor for the groceries, and I've stopped at the bodega, which is right next to my hotel, 2 or 3 times to get little snacks and drinks. My issue is when I'm traveling, especially by myself, especially if I'm walking everywhere and out in the heat, I have to stay hydrated and I have to stay caffeinated. So if I can do that, I'm in good shape. The beaches must look in. See, I can, if I go to the rooftop, I can see the ocean. I can't see the beach yet. And it's like the only place I haven't went to just yet. And it's right down the street here. It's pretty close. So I'm definitely going to get into it tomorrow. But my credit card setup, boring. For whatever reason, I have used the Chase Sapphire Reserve for dining. For no reason, it's just the first card I pulled out. Let's talk about choice hotel points. And did I even spell that right? Okay. Yeah. My brain's a little bit cooked right now. But choice hotel points, I'm not going to tell people that you need to go get choice hotel points, but I will defend them a little bit and say that they have a lot of use in South America and Central America that I've seen. It used to be really big in Nordic countries, and I think it's still the case, but there are some good opportunities here. I'm staying at the Radisson, and it's not a luxurious property, but I'm in what they call a one-bedroom, king suite. And it's just one room, so it's not really a suite, but it's pretty big. It's pretty large. And it was the same points cost as every other kind of room. So just to break this down, I used choice points. I did not transfer them from Citi or Wells Fargo. So these are choice points that I earned from having their credit card a while back that I've since canceled. But 6 nights here would have been $1,018. So I know a lot of people may consider just paying cash for that because it's fairly affordable for 6 nights. But I used 96,000 choice points, and it came out to just over 1 cent per point. Now, that doesn't seem like a big deal, but I'll tell you why it kind of is. 1 cent per point for your choice hotel rewards points. Now think about if those are coming from Citi or coming from Wells Fargo that have a 1 to 2 transfer rating. I'm getting over 2 cents per point for those Citi thank you points or those Wells Fargo's rewards points. That's on the same level as Hyatt. I know people don't like to hear that, and then they'll say, well, Hyatts are nicer anyway. Okay, they might be. They most likely are. But that's really good value from your Citi thank you points and your Wells Fargo points. And you still go to bed early. I'm going to try to stay up late tonight, Andrew. I'm going to try. I'm going to do everything I can. I even have a caffeine drink in there I'm going to drink. So what I'm saying is you have to consider some of these choice points. And here's why. We have a down the street, we have a Hilton Garden Inn that is probably in a little bit better area, like better, closer to attractions, which would have been great. The value on those Hilton points were not high, which, who cares? But this is a good place to stay if for an economical stay. I have great service every time I've left. My room's been cleaned. Free breakfast for everyone. I'm platinum status, but I still everyone gets free breakfast here. I would stay here again. I don't know if I would stay here with my wife and son. I would stay here with my son, but usually when I bring my wife, I like to get something a little nicer. But for what I'm doing, this is perfect. Obviously the Wi-Fi is working. Nobody's complained about the stream yet. So choice points. Not saying you have to go get them. I'm saying you probably should consider them. And I will consider them in the future. Irish coffee. They do have an Irish coffee here. They have they do put alcohol in their coffee, and I can't remember what they call it. I'm terrible at names. Speaking of names, the man with the coolest name in the credit card game, Mr. Dong Kim. Hope you get to enjoy some Chinese food and some lomo saltado. Not sure what that is, but I might have had it. I'm going to eat all day tomorrow and try to get everything in. Thank you, Dong, for stopping by. And they do have the Chifa food. Solo trips, choice points, save the Hiltons. Oh yeah, save the Hiltons and Hyatts for the family. I like that logic. I definitely like that logic because this hotel is a good value. It's in a safe area close to attractions. It's very clean, very clean. The air conditioner is blasting. So it's everything I need. It's got a desk so I can, do my work. I don't have a view, but I can walk out and get a view. So yeah, I think Phil Mo, I think you hit the money on the head. Think about some alternatives if you don't have to step it up for the player two and the kid. What's up? Let's reflect. This is going really well. I'm super tired. I've been pushing the pace. We're having a really good time in Lima, or I'm having a really good time. Oh, Glenn, great question. No regrets on going to Lima instead of Marrakesh. I can't regret it because I don't know what Marrakesh would have been like. My issues with Marrakesh was this. Number one, overnight flight and 3 flights. I was going to Columbus, to New York, to Paris, to Marrakesh, and overnight. That would have kicked my butt. My second issue was everything I researched about Marrakesh had merchants and stuff just chirping in my ear, bothering me never stopping, being so aggressive. And I didn't really want to deal with that by myself. I didn't really want to, I wasn't interested in that. So those two things, it made Lima a little more interesting for now. Do I want to go to Marrakesh? Yeah, I want to go to Marrakesh, but I don't regret not going there right now. JNSH just redeemed 24,000 Wells points for 6 nights at Choice Hotels in Japan. 100% Japan has very affordable stays with Choice points. I don't know if it, you have to determine if it's worth it or not, but they definitely have a lot of options in Japan. All right. Let's talk about how I got here, which I think is a little bit interesting considering all the stuff going on with Alaska Miles and Hawaii and all that good stuff. So I used Alaska Miles to book American Airlines flights from Columbus to Miami to Lima and back, and first in business. First, I want to say that it is business class from Miami to Lima, but it's not big league business class. It's not lie flat seats. It's regular kind of domestic first class, big chairs, 2-2 setup. But it's also not an overnight flight. So it's not an overnight flight. So it wasn't super awesome, but it was very nice. And this is how, this is how I did it. And I got my little notes here. The cash price for a round trip in business class from Columbus to Lima was just over $3,500. So I used 35,000 Alaska miles each way. Now, taking the booking fee and the taxes, it's about $3,500 or 70,000 Alaska miles. I know a lot of people don't like cents per point valuations and they don't really regard it as important, but it's 5 cents per point. And the reason why I think that is significant is if you book that in the Chase portal or you book it in some other portal and you get 1.25 cents per point or 1.5 cents per point, it is important to note that you can do that redemption and get a lot more value from those points. How did I get Alaska miles? Well, I did get the Alaska business credit card a while back and got the bonus for that. But I think most of these miles were transferred from American Express to Hawaiian and then moved over to Alaska. So 70,000 American Express MR points moved around a little bit were worth 5 cents each. I think it's worth mentioning that. And listen, for some reason, people seem to have this thing where, well, cents per point, not everything. Cents per point. I'm not saying it's everything. I'm saying cents per point is something that you should be proud of if you're getting exponential value out of your miles. For some reason, people have this misunderstanding that, well, if you can't get 5 cents per point, then you don't go on the trip. So I go on the trip. Wouldn't matter. And I'm like, no, I go on the trip as well. I don't get great cents per point. I don't get great value on every trip. But I do want to point out when we do get great value, because you might want to book something similar. And I think when you realize that your American Express MR points are you can get 5 cents per point easily, then you might value them differently. It's just like a lot of folks will say, well, Amex MR points, I value them at 2 cents per point. That's cool. I don't. I almost never get that low of a value, but I get it. I just wanted to point out there that you can get, and this was this was not tricky. It was not hard. It wasn't an availability sweet spot. It's just using Alaska miles for international travel on American Airlines. Pretty easy. Ian says solid. Yeah, it's solid. It's just a good fundamental way to use your transferable currencies. And Jared says not caring about it. It does. And now, and I do have a theory about that, and I have 2, maybe 3 different camps on I don't care about cents per point. One, you earn more points than you can ever spend, whether that's because you get referrals or whatever, and you don't travel as much. So you got more points than you could ever spend. That's not me. 2, you don't do this kind of stuff. You're not going to Lima, Peru in business class. So yeah, who cares? If you're flying to grandma's house in Minnesota twice a year, who cares what your value is? And 3, the guys who really just don't care or can't be bothered to, I want to go to Salt Lake City to go ski. That's where I'm going. Don't care what the cents per point is. And I'm not saying it's a determining factor, but if I can get great value, I want to get great value. I want to stretch those points. Andrew, that's a good question. Casablanca, I did consider Casablanca, and that was an easier flight. It's still an overnight flight, and it's still those merchants bothering me all day. But yeah, that's definitely a Casablanca or Marrakesh. They're definitely still on the list. I definitely still want to go. Yeah, and see, Glenn has a great point. He doesn't care about cents per point. It's the experience that counts. And it turns out, this is baffling to some people, that I can get a great experience for 5 cents per point, or I can get that same great experience for 1 cent per point. And it turns out that when I leave here, I feel better about getting 5 cents. I feel better about spending 70,000 Alaska Airline miles than someone would feel about spending 350,000 Capital One Venture miles. It feels better. It's a better way to do business. But you're right. The experience is what matters for sure. But if I can do the same experience for much, much cheaper and a higher value, I want to learn how to do that. Filmo, overnight flights suck. They do. Us old guys, we can't. When we were young, man, sit in the chair like this for 2 hours and wake up refreshed. Doesn't work like that anymore. John says he's a single dude and still no player two to earn points. Cents per point is important. You got to stretch them out, man. It's not the most important thing. It's not the end all be all. But the folks that say it doesn't matter, I don't think they're playing the same game on the same level as some of us. But who cares? It's if you're doing it, if you're doing your thing and you're in the game and you're killing it, great. Travis has a good point. You can always earn more. Do what makes you happy, and definitely don't dwell on it. But I always go by the mantra: anything worth doing is worth overdoing. Moderation is for sissies. So if I want to take a trip, I want to learn how to do it the best way possible. Yeah, Andrew, I cancel a lot. I'm trying to get better at canceling them. What I should do is not book them in the first place until a month or two before I leave. But I see these deals and I see these redemptions and I go, man, I have to do that. Yeah, Ian, if you want to go to Paris and there's a certain way you want to go about doing it and it's not the highest value, go anyway. Yeah, absolutely. But if you want to go to Paris and there's 7 different ways to do it, and one of them is really high value and one of them is shit value, maybe don't be super proud about doing the shit value one and saying, well, I don't care. That's all I'm saying. And I'm not saying anybody in particular is like that. But if there's a better way of doing things, it makes sense to be happy about doing it a better way. And my man, John R. agrees. John, we're going to take you to one of these South American countries and find you a girlfriend. Me and Cesar is going to be your security. Cesar will be our linguist. I'll be our intel guy. And let's go to Colombia and find you a wife. I think you'll enjoy that. Yeah, and Josh, here's my thing. I guess I'm not able to convey what I mean, but when you say it's better to have the experience rather than missing it over cents per point, the people who really like cents per point, they're not missing anything. If I'm not saying that to go to Lima, Peru, I have to get 5 cents per point or I'm not coming. I'm just saying if there's a way to do it for 5 cents and a way to do it for 1.5 cents, one of those is better. And some people don't care. And I understand that. But I've never missed an experience because it was a lower value cents per point. I've never missed one. I've always done it anyway. Brother, Chase is getting harder to get approved. Just apply for a Sapphire card that took over a week ago. Haven't got approved yet. They may be doing I know they get when they get their promotions, man. Sometimes they get backed up when they do a lot of manual stuff. I haven't applied for a Chase card in a long time because I keep getting other stuff. The shorty's gotten to the credit card game. I'm at maybe 100K Capital One miles right now. So I'm scared of wasting it on a bad redemption. I wouldn't think of it like that, man. Like everyone is trying to kind of convey, there's really no such thing as a bad redemption. I don't think there is. There are lower value redemptions and higher value redemptions, but as long as you're going somewhere cool and you're making those memories, who cares? You can earn more points. You can earn more miles. I 100% agree with all that. And I would never leave a place and go, man, I really wish I would have got a higher cents per point, because even though that was super fun and I had the time of my life, I'm not proud of. I'm not happy with that. I wouldn't think like that. Colombia is too fun. Let's go find that wife. Yeah, man. Whoever wants to help myself and Cesar get John R. a wife, let's go, man. Yeah, you have your own bodyguards, man. We'll take care of you. Now, yeah. And plus, we're not going to be out doing other stuff. We'll be there just for you. Yeah, Andrew says he wouldn't let cents per point get in the way of taking a trip. But yes, it's super silly to overspend if you don't need to. Yeah. If you can't find great value and you want to go anyway, do it. I'm even a proponent of cashing points out when it makes sense. I don't care if it's only 1 cent per point. If the cash makes sense, the cash makes sense. Phil Mo's World. The Jordan rules for credits, never going to get hung up on. And I think that's the misconception. No one is really hung up on it. It just seems like the non-cents per point crowd doesn't want to mention it at all. And I think it's because they're not playing the game at the same level. So they're instead of saying, hey, I just don't know how to do that, they're saying, I don't care about it. Yeah, and you're right. We're all traveling in style that we may otherwise not be able to afford. And that says it all for me. I would not be able to travel to South America in business class. And I mean, I could probably afford this hotel, but I just, it's $3,500 for a flight is prohibitively expensive for me. Like, I don't think I deserve to do that by myself when I have a family. But using points, it's a little bit easier for me to justify in my head. Yeah, Suresh, I think you're right, man. When you look at cents per point, it might, and I will be lying if I didn't say that did sway my decision making a little bit. If two destinations are of equal, where I want to go, they're equal. Being able to do it with 12 cents per point will probably sway my decision versus going somewhere that I can get 3 cents per point. Is that the tail wagging the dog? Yeah, but that's also how I travel. I build up a bunch of points, and I have so many places I want to visit. I really let the deal lead me to where I'm going. It's a really good example. I'm going to my whole family's going to Portugal in March. How high is Portugal on my list? Not super high, but I found that Tap Air Portugal redemption, and I got a great deal. So guess what? We're going to Portugal. Now, is that bad? No, we're going to love Portugal. But did the redemption sway my decision there? Yeah, absolutely. And some people don't like to think that way, which is fine. Yeah, Stacy says, yeah, and I'm not, yeah, I guess I'm beating a dead horse. I don't think cents per point is all that, but I do think it's a factor for a lot of people. If I get to go anywhere or see my kids for free for pennies on the dollar, absolutely. Boxers in the recon. All right. We pray for you. Jake T, I think you should maximize the value of redemptions. Not sure cents per point is the best way of measuring value. Yeah, and I think that's where we get stuck with the potential not seeing things the same as the people who really value cents per point. That's it. They just value it. The people who don't value it, their argument is it's not everything. It's not the most important. And no one ever says that. So I think we're all trying to do the same thing. I just think that if you're getting a good value on your points, it should be celebrated. It should be mentioned. It should be, and we should strive to get more for our points. Obviously, we don't price flights. So Andrew has a great point. The bad redemption is the trip you don't take. 100%. Andrew, am I a shellback? I am very sorry to say I am not a shellback. And for those of you that don't know, in the United States Navy, when you cross the equator, there is a ceremony you can go through in which you become a shellback. If you're not a shellback, you're a lowly pollywog. And I did not get the opportunity to perform the shellback ceremony because my ship did not cross the equator in the years I was there. Glenn Ardonia is a shellback because he was on my same ship in 94, and we didn't go back overseas until 96. I'm not a shellback. And if you don't know, it's this really long, crazy all-day ceremony where they make you do what would probably be considered high-level hazing now, but things are a little different in the Navy. So, no, Andrew, I'm not a shellback. I'm not proud of it, but I also can't lie. Oh, brother, what's the best airline partners for Buenos Aires, Argentina, or Brazil? Man, that's tough. I don't think I know off the top of my head because I've never researched those. I'd have to get back with you because I don't know. I've never researched those. I know Avianca is Colombian. Latam Airlines is Chilean. I've just talked to some people this week that said that airlines in Argentina are completely inconsistent and terrible. Brazil and Copa is Panama. So I don't know, man. You have to do some research on that one because I've not been to those places. Yeah, Philmo's got a point. The only bad redemption is the one you waited too long or just skipped. Yeah, don't skip them. Please do not go to Sosa, Dominican Republic to find a wife or a girlfriend. I've never been there. I think John would like Colombia a lot better. I think Colombia would like John a lot better. What's the total amount you pay? For these flights, I don't remember. It was like $55 total or something like that. They have a booking fee for Alaskan for using Alaskan miles, and then you have the taxes. It was something like it wasn't expensive. I'm not Daddy Luke. I'm Uncle Luke. But is it worth to churn Capital One Venture X? Should I cancel my card after 1 year? Just keep it. No, I don't. I would not churn the Capital. I don't think you're going to be able to churn the Capital One Venture X because if you cancel it, they're probably not going to give you another one. I'm a big fan of the Capital One Venture X. I do a lot of videos on the Venture X. I think it's worth keeping for almost everyone, almost anyone that travels. Big fan of that card. I like it. So no, I would not churn it. I don't churn a lot of cards, but I don't know if it's possible to churn Capital One. Jared says value to you is king, but value to most people is correlated to price, and you or your spouse might like what others like, hence the need for stretching points. Okay, I don't quite understand what you're saying. I've never said that value is king to me. I just think it's a good idea to point out it's a good idea to point out that redemptions are sometimes much more valuable than other ones. And I also think if no one can tell me that getting 1.5 cent per point in the Chase travel portal is more satisfying and a better way of doing things than getting 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 cents per point using transfer partners. That argument can't exist in my brain. It's for someone who just wants to do it and just wants to prove to themselves, hey, what I did was okay. And it is okay. I'm not saying it's not. I'm just saying that 1.5 cents per point or 7.5 cents per point for the exact same redemption, they're not the same. They're not the same value. And I don't want to offend anyone and say they're not doing things right. That's not what I'm saying at all. What I'm saying is there is another level to this game that a lot of people are missing out on because they choose to be satisfied with an average redemption. Okay, Dirk Little went to the Grand Cayman with his family. A good use of points. Points used to not go. I'm not. That was like my family in the Grand Caymans. Too good of a points usage not to go. 100%. I'm sorry. You're exactly right. The Grand Cayman happens to have a redemption at the Sapphire Resort. It's an IHG property, and it's $1,000 a night room for 70,000 IHG points. Now, you can stay next door, or you can stay down the beach at the Hampton, and you can say, hey, those experiences are the same. But getting an amazing value for very cheap IHG points, to me, it makes me feel a little better when I'm there at the resort, knowing that I paid very little for $1,000 a room redemption. It just makes me feel a little bit better about being in this game than if I would have got a 1 cent per point redemption with the same room through a portal. Kevin, we're using mostly the Capital One Venture X and Savor card, mostly. Oh, Travis is going to Egypt in March. Barcelona. Fly back on AA flagship business for 54,000. Is that 54,000 American Airlines miles? Because that's great. And here, I mean, that's a big league redemption, especially with flagship business. You're going to have a great time. Ryan loves Portugal. Speaking of Choice hotels, he used Choice to stay at the Juan Palacio in Lisbon. That was a great. Now that's cool. We're staying at an IHG. It's at a convent, an IHG that was a converted nuns convent. But I had to get 2 rooms because they have that weird European thing where the occupancy rules. So, but fortunately for me, the IHG points were such a low redemption. I could get 2 rooms for not a whole lot of points, and I don't mind having 2 rooms, honestly. Whoops. Yeah, Supra. I'm currently. I had platinum status with Choice, but I got rid of that card, and I did some kind of status match with from Hilton to Choice, and I'm platinum status with Choice. Have I noticed it being worth it? No, I don't think so. No one's mentioned it since I've been here. But I think if you had a couple Choice stays, it might help. I think platinum does get a few things. I get a bottle of water. Maybe it's the free breakfast. I don't know. But it was free. It was a status match. So I wouldn't recommend going out of your way for Choice hotels platinum status. And when it runs out, I'm not going to try to renew it. Oh, wow. We did I actually did go through all the almost all of the things from the questions. It was because my industry was too high risk. We went to recon. Okay, so you did get it. Good job, Boxer. Freedom Unlimited. That's he's from Arequipa. Which cities are you visiting? I'm staying in Lima. I'm not getting super adventurous outside the city. I really packed in a bunch of different tours during the day here, and I only have one more day left, so I don't plan on visiting any other cities. Francis says for various reasons his brother has had a really restrictive. That's tough when your itinerary has to be in a certain way and it's not super flexible. You should probably just throw cents per point out the window. If it's a concrete itinerary and very inflexible, just get it done and don't worry about it. That's what I think anyway. Yeah. Okay, Jared. Yeah, what you make sense. I agree, and I guess I don't want to beat a dead horse, but I still think that there is a difference between flying to Los Angeles for 1 cent per point and flying to Los Angeles for 5 cents a point. There's got to be a difference there. It might not be important to some people because they have millions of miles. they only fly once a year anyway, so they don't care. But there is a difference there. And I'm not saying somebody's doing better, and I'm not saying it's the only thing, and I'm not saying I won't take the trip. I'm just saying there is a difference, and I want to show people that they can get a high value for their points for the very small percentage of people that are looking for that. Andrew, I've not stayed with any Accor properties yet, and I don't have any on the schedule. I do want to look into them, though. David Williams, you forgot about us. I'm very forgettable, David. Don't worry about it. He's going to start from the beginning. Good. We have a good one here today. JP Knowledge, my man. JP just brings me into my last topic of the day. And if you have not watched JP Knowledge's videos, listen, JP is not the standard guy talking about stuff he doesn't know. JP flies all over the world and does all kinds of cool stuff. He's actually asking me about solo travel, which I know he does a lot. So this is most of my solo travel has not quite been solo. I've met somebody or taken somebody with me, but this is probably my first trip like this solo. So would I recommend solo travel? I think it depends on your personality. I'm more introverted, and how I've done this trip is I've signed up for tours and excursions, and that has kind of forced me to talk to people and meet people. So I really like solo travel. Me and my wife, we each do a solo trip every year, and it really does like recharge the battery. Like you don't have to get up at 5 a.m. to feed the dogs. You don't have to, even though we do like going to basketball practice, you don't have to go to basketball practice. You don't have to do all these different things. Everybody has a super busy life. Imagine just going by yourself for 3-4 days and not having to worry about any of that. Just taking care of yourself for a couple of days. I've had a lot of fun. I would recommend it for a lot of people. I think it gets you out of your comfort zone. I think it forces you to go do some things you might not otherwise do. Yeah, and you really don't have to. Traveling with a family, I don't care what anybody says. If you're the dad in a family, and if you're filling that role, you have a lot on your plate. You have the safety, you have the organization, you have the cost, you have all these different things. Those are a lot easier when it's just you, and you're only doing it for just a couple of days, maybe once a year. It's really fun. Is it a little bit lonely? I think some people will probably miss home. I'm ready to go home right now. If I could jump on the plane right now, I'm gone. And if I leave Saturday morning, so maybe I planned it a little bit long for me, but no, I recommend it. It's super cool, JP. I love traveling like this. So yeah, and I recommend it for just about anybody, man. Unless you really don't like to be by yourself, I'm okay by myself. I'm 100% okay by myself. So I definitely like it. Luis wants to go to Peru. Come on down, man. It's the water's cold, but it's cool. 54K and $40. Nice work, Travis. Very nice work. Yep, Luis, Peruvian cuisine is big time. Mostly free travels in the house. 100% bonus IHG sale through the end of the month. Guys, if you are not familiar with what she's saying, IHG points go on sale a couple times a year for a 100% bonus. That price goes down to half a penny percent. I buy the maximum amount of IHG points per year because I normally get at least 1 cent per point with IHG points. So I pay cash, but I'm doubling that cash. I think it's a big time move. And I can tell you that I think it's a real big time move when you're working on a bonus. I think it's a great time to buy points when you're working on a bonus. I like to see that. I like to think of that as investing in future travel. If you don't travel that much, don't speculatively buy points. If you travel a lot and you know you're going to be staying at IHGs, I like to buy IHG points. I like to buy Hilton points. Thank you, Mostly Free Travel. And if you guys don't know Mostly Free Travel, check her out on Instagram. All the news, all the tips. She's big league. She does a lot of cool stuff. Check her out on Instagram for sure. Okay. TAP Airlines doesn't pay. EU 261. I don't know what that means. But it sounds like I'm going to have to pay some fees or something. But I booked through Avianca, so I'm not going to worry too much about it. I booked my TAP Airlines through Avianca Life Miles, so hopefully I'm good there. Whoops. We got Mr. Dan Johnson. Says, for someone just starting out and want to ease their way into the points and miles world, are there specific videos of mine that you would do? Now, here's the thing about my videos. My videos are not linear. They're really what I feel like talking about that day. And I don't think anybody has a maybe like a numerical order of their videos for beginners, but I do have a playlist that says for beginners or credit cards for beginners. I would suggest, because you're gonna, I know you. If you guys don't know, I know Dan, but you're gonna dive in and research this. In 3 months, you're gonna know more than all of us anyway. So I would start looking at different videos, taking your time. I would really recommend the Frequent Miler blog. Those guys are super nerdy and super genius about this stuff. And they definitely put the information out there in a very digestible way. So I don't have any particular videos to work to get into, but just, you're smart enough, dive in with 2 feet, take your time. And like I said, in 3 months, you'll know more than the rest of us. I would research first the credit cards themselves, but I would also recommend that when you are learning and researching, you have to learn how to earn, and then you have to learn how to redeem, because my very unpopular opinion is everyone knows how to earn. That next level knowledge is how to redeem, and it gets complicated. So your first level is maybe an American Airlines card. I earn American Airlines miles. Now let me learn how to use American Airlines miles. Second step for that is, let me get a Chase card or an American Express card that gives me these points that I can transfer to 20 different airlines. That's the next level knowledge, and that's something you kind of get into after a bit. Some people don't ever get into it. So I don't think I completely answered your question, but I would just jump in. Don't be intimidated. It is complicated and hard to learn, but you'll be fine. The shorties, what do you think about combining multiple high-end cards? Well, shorties, I have the Platinum business version, I have the Venture X, and I have the Chase Sapphire Reserve. For someone who can get value from credits and perks, but not enough to spend, I get it. This is what I would suggest if you do want all those cards. I don't think very many normal people should have all those cards. I have a YouTube channel. I travel a lot, but how I plan to kind of use those 3 cards is there may be some downgrade, upgrade plays there. For instance, I'm probably always going to keep the Venture X because it doesn't really cost me anything. The Platinum card might get downgraded for a year and brought back up next year. Same with the Chase Sapphire Reserve. The Chase Sapphire Reserve for me might become something no annual fee in this second year. I want to keep the card, just downgrade it because I may want to upgrade it more in the future. So I like the high-end cards. I think you get tons of value. It's going to be different for everyone. Some people, and most people, they really don't like the Chase Sapphire Reserve because they can't get enough value out of it. Some people get massive value out of it. So take your time. I wouldn't recommend getting them all at the same time. And you're going to have to do your own evaluation every single year the fee hits. Yeah, John R. likes the solo travel, man. He's out woman hunting though. A little bit different. He's out looking for his Colombian wife. We're going to help him get her. CJ, solo travel, you learn a lot about yourself. Yeah, he did his first solo international trip last October to Japan. Dude, CJ, that's money. That's Japan is not an easy trip solo. There's a lot of logistical issues with Japan. The language is tough. The transportation. So good for you, man. Nice work for sure. You're depending on yourself. Yeah, I like your style, CJ. Luke, you're lucky you and your wife also do solo trips. Some couples don't like that idea. We're old. We don't worry about. Thankfully, I prefer. Yeah, my wife. My My wife did her first solo trip, I think, of her entire life last year to Key West. And I can only imagine what it's like for a woman who has been a single mother, a woman who is the mother of a household, because that's such an important and taxing job, to go 3 days in the sunshine and, drink mimosas and read books and do all that. Yeah, they deserve it. Let them do it, man. Most places I've been banned solo. Yeah, Philmo. That's why I'm old, so I'm not getting banned from anywhere anymore. But I am curious how many countries that when I was in the Navy that I could be banned from. Not sure. Don't care. All by myself. John, you can be all by yourself, or you can be forever alone like RJ. I don't think you're forever alone like RJ. You're just all by yourself. Chombe. He loves Peru. What's your next trip? Africa sounds right. Yeah, I'm going to think about Northern Africa. I'm going to think about doing the Morocco thing. I still on the list. It's just like a lot of us, we have such big lists and long lists. Who knows when we're going to get around to it all? JP says, I almost always meet people when solo traveling. I met a pilot in Taipei from Texas. And yeah, you're right. And I've met a couple people even on this trip and had some really cool conversations. I do think that's a little bit, you're younger than me, obviously. I think that's a little bit more for the younger people, because a lot of the solo travelers are in their 20s and early 30s. Little bit different, but yeah, I hung out with some cool people in the last couple of days. And here in Lima, it's not the busy season for tourists. So one of these tours, I was the only one. One of the tours, it was just me and another person. So, if it's just you and them, you have to kind of hang out. So yeah, I agree, man. I'm becoming a big fan of solo travel. And here's the thing. If I wanted to leave Lima tonight and go to Quito, Ecuador, nothing's stopping me. I can just pack my suitcase and pull up a couple apps and head to the airport. So I'm not going to do that, but if you could only buy Hilton or IHG, what wins? Hilton, I think. Hilton fits me a little more, but I buy both. Yeah, but yeah, if I'm getting the 100% bonus, both of those are going to go on sale for half a penny each. I stay at Hilton's more often, so that's what I would take. Either version. He's just alone. Mike Lamb. I don't think I've met you, Mike. What's one of your best travel partner redemptions for an economy flight? Here's, like we just talked about, Alaska miles for American Airlines flights is really good for economy flights. You can still do Avianca for United flights really cheap. You can still do Turkish really cheap. But you have to really look at those international partners and use those for domestic carriers. And I think you can get some monster deals. It used to be British Airways for American Airlines flights. That's not as good anymore. But yeah, almost all of those partners have pretty good sweet spots, especially for short haul. So I would definitely look at, you can even look at stuff like Qatar for American Airlines flights. And at the end of the day, American Airlines miles for American flights are still have a lot of really good redemptions, really great redemptions, especially for the short stuff. If you're going down to South Florida. Yeah, JP has a point there. When you get into the knowledge and you get into the, I think at first what people realize is, man, I can go travel for next to nothing. This is crazy. And then if you take that next step, you can say, wow, I can sit in a Singapore suite with a bed and a captain's chair and drink $100 glass champagne for almost nothing. So when you get into that next level of redemptions, and some people don't care about that, I get it. But when you get into the high level redemptions, you literally get into $20,000 flights that don't cost you anything. In a sense, it does cost you. But and for someone like me who is not generally going to be able to do things like that, it does give you a surreal experience, and it makes you proud that you learned that stuff and you got to be able to do it. Tio Rico, my Boricua brother, mi hermano. This year, 2024, I spent 3 months in the Balkans. Really? That's interesting. The longest by far I've spent away from my wife, 34 years married. Nice. Congratulations on 34 years, Tio. 3 months in the Balkans is very interesting. I have I think Tbilisi, Georgia, high on my list. I really want to get into some of those areas that you're talking about. I'm not doing 3 months, 5 days maybe, but nice work, Tio. David Ruiz, what's up, man? I like the idea of a solo trip, but my wife doesn't. She doesn't get it. And yeah, she wouldn't do it on her own. She doesn't understand why you would. Yeah, I mean, I have no tips for that, man. I just, I'll be honest, I don't know if I ever asked my wife, hey, this is what I'm doing. She's never had a problem with it because I do what I want to do. She doesn't have to, she can trust me. She doesn't have to worry about what I'm doing. But I get it. Some people don't understand. Plus, she also knows that I do a lot of things by myself, and that's part of my personality. Manufacturers spend ideas. Panadero. I don't, and you won't find very many people talking publicly about that. And there's a few different reasons that I'm not uncomfortable telling you why. One, if I have a manufacturer spending technique, I'm not telling you because it'll go away. I'm not telling anyone because I want it to continue to work. Second, and a lot of people have issues with this, but I do have referrals, credit card referrals from other credit card issuers. And there are some instances and some examples of if I talked about stuff like that, those issuers might take away those links. A lot of people are really sensitive about creators having links for stuff. I am completely unapologetic in that I have referral links. I'm not saying I would not do this for free, but my credit card referral links pay for my YouTube channel. So I will try to keep those referral links. That manufacturer spending is something that if you really wanted to learn, go to meetups. I just met up with Ricky's Travel Hacking a couple of weeks ago in Columbus, Ohio, and he didn't get the biggest turnout that he wanted. It was a small turnout, but I did learn something very valuable that will never be published on YouTube. So I would say go to some meetups. Go to Puerto Rico and Veterans Day weekend in November. There'll be a ton of creators and a ton of fellow nerds that might have some information for you. But for the most part, you're not going to get a bunch of manufactured spending ideas publicly spoken about for those reasons. And yeah, I do know a couple, but I don't talk about them. And I don't really do very many of them because it's not really worth my time. Sorry. My main man, Stan the Credit Frog. Finally done with work. We'll have to watch the replay. Well, I'm glad you're off work, big guy. Comment if you like, or we can chat about it later. But thanks for stopping by, for sure. David Ruiz. Do get to do guys trips, though. That's strange that you can do guys trip. And here's, okay, now let me see if you agree with me or not, guys. Guys trips and solo trips are not related. They're not the same thing. And I know some people will probably say, no, that's the same thing. It's not. I've taken trips with Glenn Ardonia. I've taken trips with my dad. And those are great. Those are super awesome. Solo trips are something completely different. There's nobody here. It's just me. I think it's healthy. I think it's healthy for men, especially. I think it's really cool I think it's healthy to be by yourself once in a while. Guys trips. My problem with guys trips is we're all influenced by our friend circle, and we all have that one friend who's going to try to get you in some trouble. So I don't, so I don't, guys trips I don't do. I'll do one guy, and I don't mean that, but I'll do almost solo trips, just a couple, meet somebody, whatever. Stan the Credit Frog, what's the most adventurous thing you've eaten on this trip? Stan, we did talk about that a bit. And I'll have to go back and I'll probably have to message my tour guide because I don't know what most of that stuff was. But ceviche was, I think, was the most adventurous. Cow's heart, adventurous for me. A bunch of other stuff. I don't know what it was. Some like a big bowl of snot and nuts. It was good, but I didn't eat a whole lot of it. But I'll have to figure out what this stuff's called. But on a scale of Midwestern white fella, I'm high 7, 8 on the adventurous scale for eating. I'm not an adventurous eater, and I have not eaten guinea pig yet. But I'm working on it. I actually have been able to program to turn off that I don't eat that switch. So I've eaten everything they've put in front of me. I've tasted it, so I'm getting better at that, and I'm trying to get really good at that before I go to Asia. John's looking for you, Stan. Oh, sorry. Chat, did he mention what his primary luxury travel car was for this trip? Yeah, Bert, I am primarily using the Capital One Venture X and the Savor one for this trip, just because it's a simple duo. I did try to use an American Express Gold Card at a cafe. Was not. They didn't take it. They do take American Express at a lot of places here, and I have used my CSR for a couple dining experiences. Trowel says I don't find good deals with transfer partners, so I use the portals. It's a very interesting statement. I would probably like to talk to you further about that to see if we can help you out in finding some better deals. But if you're comfortable with using the travel portals and you're good at it and it saves you time, do your thing, man. Ryan says Alaska is great for economy. Alaska is great for a lot of things, man. I booked my family's vacation to Grand Cayman in business class from Columbus to Grand Cayman for 15,000 Alaska miles each way in business class. Now I know it's not anything special in business class on American Airlines, but still business class. You're still not sitting with the alpaca and the guinea pig and the chicken coop. You're sitting in the front with normal people. Oh, Citizen Zero's in the house. He lived in Lima for 3 years. Back in the 90s. I'm not going to Cusco or Machu Picchu for this trip. I made some mistakes and didn't fully understand how far away that was. So I won't have time to do it. Damien's in the house. What's up, Damien? Guys, if you have not seen Damien's channel, absolutely check that out. Hope you're enjoying Lima. You're missing the below freezing weather. Okay, so Damien might not have a channel. I might have confused you with a different guy. If I did, I apologize. But he's in Central Ohio, and I'm not. So, Damien, I hope you get through that wind chill. My wife said that it's not only cold there, but it's also super windy, so it's 10 times worse. I'm trying to think who I'm going to find out. I'm going to look up the guy I thought you were, and you tell me if he looks like him. I'll look up it in a minute. How do you like being in a Choice Hotel? It's my first Choice Hotel redemption ever. I like it. They're really nice to me here. I haven't seen any none of the housekeeping I've even seen, but every time I leave my room, I come back and it's made and taken care of. The breakfast is really good for free. Really good free breakfast. There's a doorman who opens the door for me. Great location. I said earlier, I wouldn't say be aggressively earning choice points, but definitely keep them open as an option. This is a Radisson, and I think there are 2 Radissons in Lima. I think there's 2 IHGs. The IHGs look pretty good as well, but this was just a great redemption. So in a great location. So I took a chance, and I'm satisfied with it. Does Nippon or Singapore fly from DC or New York to Europe? Singapore Airlines flies from JFK to Frankfurt. It's their fifth freedom flight. I've taken it. I absolutely love that flight. And I've talked about it a million times on here, the way they treated my family and my little boy. I will forever be a Singapore Airlines fan just because of their professionalism and their way about doing their business. Their crew, their flight attendant crew, big league. They wear those I don't know what the term is, but those real tight-fitting wrapped Asian dresses. That's their uniform. They have the posture and they're when the Singapore Airlines ladies walk through the airport, everybody stops to look at them because they are super squared away. Everything they do is tip top, and the presentation's nice. The service is great. Love Singapore Airlines. Nippon, I don't think Nippon has a fifth freedom flight to Europe. Somebody else might know that. I don't know. I have not heard of that. How do you feel about resorts versus adventuring as an older guy? Both, man. Yeah, I have vacations where, and even with my family, we have vacations where we go to a resort and we don't do anything. We play in the water, we eat, we do, and we have vacations where we don't stop. I took my dad to Panama back in last January, and I didn't give him more than an hour or two a day to sit down. We got a modest Marriott property. I think it was an AC, and we just slept there, and we were on the go the whole time. So I do both of them. This has not been a resort here. I've been on the go most of the time here. So I like both of them, man. And the adventuring is, I'm not going to lie, it's a little bit harder as an older guy. I do need the comfort. That's why I have this giant king size bed. So I do need some of that. I need more than I used to, but I still do the adventuring too. Here's the guy. Okay, God, listen, hold on. Look at traveling on everyday spend. Look at his face. And look at Damien's face. Maybe I need a new prescription because Damon, you look a little bit like traveling on everyday spend. Am I look, guys, am I crazy? Have I been traveling too long, pushing it too hard? I don't know. Okay. Check out Traveling on Everyday Spend channel 100%. Oh, it is the same guy. Okay. Now, hey, Damon, you got me super overwhelmed and confused now. Do you have is it different accounts or am I completely losing it? Okay. Okay, it's the same. Listen, I don't know if I'm crazy, but whatever. Either way, thanks for stopping by, Damien. I do like what you do on YouTube. I do think you folks need to go check him out. Another guy who has a different perspective and gives you the very similar information in a much different way. Here on YouTube, I think the information is a lot of the same. You just need to find the guy you resonate with and you relate to that gives you the information in a way that you can digest it. And Damien's one of those guys. Joe has a good line here. Cents per point is about opportunity cost. If you settle for 1.4 cents per point, totally fine. But you should be aware that the 3+, you're passing that up for the booking. And just to add to that, because I don't want to get too much more into it, it is a long debate, but there are a lot of people who are very satisfied with a certain level of booking that would be earning much more in the way of travel with a cashback setup. And I'm going to do a video on that soon. But there is that threshold that if you're not getting more than a certain amount, you're probably losing some of that opportunity cost. Solo trips better than guys trips. Yeah, I mean, I like my guys. I do. I like my family trips. I like my wife trip, but solo trips are a little different. And I recommend them, man. Like JP said, and a lot of people said, you do learn a lot about yourself when it's just you. Guys, trips are different when you're 50 plus. Yeah, you have to be close to a pharmacy. You probably have a shelf with your heartburn meds and guys over 50. I'm not over 50, but those guys have a routine. And there's a lot of guys over 50, you are not going to break them of that routine. If they say they have to have a cup of coffee after lunch, then you're going to have to stop and get a cup of coffee after lunch. Guys trips, especially places with girls who work the night shift, are wild. Yeah, not my game, not my interest, but I understand. Absolutely. Yeah, that's a good point. Solo trip it does have that aura of therapeutic. It's been really cool. I'm a fan. David Mendoza. What's up, Luke? Any tips for card setups living in Germany and traveling around Europe? Moving there soon with mainly Amex cards and worried about them. Now, see, I have a differing opinion on that than a lot of people. So many people will tell you you'll have no problem using American Express in Europe. And that might be true if you don't mind getting rejected at a restaurant. I don't like going to a restaurant and ordering $200 worth of food and then pulling out a card and say, oh, no, we don't accept that one. So I hate to sound like I'm a fanboy, but if I was eligible for American credit cards and I was living in Germany, I'm probably going to be moving towards Capital One Venture X and the Chase Sapphire Reserve, just because the acceptance is that much better. And I don't know how you spend or how you travel or how you do your business, but one of those might be better for you. I love American Express. I do. I have a lot of American Express cards. But if I lived in Germany, there's a chance I would focus my travel card with the CSR or the Venture X. Now, if you've got a grocery store in Germany that accepts American Express and you can build up those points, that's awesome. As far as travel goes, I think I would start looking at those cards. David Ruiz, a first time, man, you get on it, dude. First time in 4 years, you don't have one. You don't have your points deployed in an international flight. Get on it, buddy. Okay. Damien, I thought I was crazy. Then I thought I was racist. And then I was like, oh, it is the same person. I didn't think I was crazy or racist, but thanks for clarifying that. I'm thinking somebody's going to say he says it, whatever. But it's nice to see you here. JP Knowledge says, guys' trips can be nonstop. Solo trip is what I want when I want. That's a huge, yeah. The solo trip is if you want to get up at 2 a.m. and go like this Lima, this nightlife doesn't start until midnight. At least that's what everybody tells me. I'm in bed by 10. But if you wanted to sleep until 9, 10 o'clock at night and get up and go do nightlife, that's fine here. 5 Guys, you might not be able to do that. Take a nap at 2 p.m. after lunch? Absolutely. Eat ramen 3 times? Yeah. If you don't want to spend any money on one day, you don't. Yeah, you're right, JP. That's a good point. I don't get naps at home, but I sure have gotten a couple of them here in Lima, and nobody wakes me up. Pretty great. Tio says Choice has treated him right. Yeah, I just want to tell people Choice is an option. You're not going to stay at the Roadway Inn or the Shady Sadies, but they're higher end stuff, especially in the Americas. You've got some good options there. Yeah, JP agrees, man. The Singapore Airlines crew they are so impressive. I mean, just so impressive how they do their business. I always say with hotels anyway, there's a hospitality business and a hotel business. And same kind of thing going on with the airlines. Singapore is in the hospitality business in a way that they still get the business part done, the security, taking care of people. They're big time, man. I'll always be a fan just by the way they treated my son on his flight. Jordan wants to know what kind of luggage I normally travel with. Check bag, carry on, just the packing cube. No, I'm a throw it in the suitcase. I'm a serial underpacker. I don't care as long as I have a CPAP machine. If I have my CPAP machine, my cell phone, and my wallet, I don't care what I bring. I can buy whatever. But I generally, even though I'm underpacked, I generally have a backpack with my microphone, my laptop, because everywhere I go, I'm going to do some work. It might just be editing some videos, but this pays for my travel, so I don't mind working while I'm doing these things. So backpack, CPAP machine is my backpack's a personal item. CPAP machine is my medical device, and either if it's normally 90% of the time just to carry on. Here I was business class international, so I checked the bag just because I didn't want to have it in the lounge and stuff, and I brought a bigger bag this time. But I'm not. And my backpack generally has everything I need when I travel, so I usually don't put anything in it. It's already in there. Just put the laptop, the microphone. I do have a bunch of GoPro stuff that I never use, but I kind of keep it pretty simple. If I forget something, I don't care. The only thing I don't want to forget is swimming trunks, and I put those in my backpack, because if I check into a hotel, or if I can't check into the hotel, I'll tell them, hey, can you hold my stuff? I'm gonna go throw my swim trunks on. I'll go to the pool. I'll go to the ocean. They're usually good with that. So I keep it really simple, man. I don't stress about packing. I try to keep a little bit of room for if I buy something, but I don't really buy much. So thanks, John R. I'm not crazy. I thought it was funny too, man, because I'm like, yeah, all right. Donovan says I'm the man. Appreciate it, Donovan. Appreciate it. Stacy's in Northeastern Ohio. I'm sorry. Stay in Lima. Next week is worse here with single digits. Oh, listen, Stacy, I don't care about the weather. I'm one of those weird people that really does like spending time with my wife and my son. I like going to basketball practice. I'm ready to come home. Thanks for the long one. 5 spot from Ian Mascal. Thank you, sir. Appreciate it. Absolutely. And thanks for stopping by. I don't do wild guys trips. We go every year to a city where the Giants are going. That's a pretty cool trip. Best one was when we went to Chicago, went to the Giants versus Cubs Saturday, and Bears and Niners. That's a cool trip. Yeah, for sure. I meet my Navy buddy, Glenn Ardonia, every year, every other year. He's not wild. He's not. I'm not wild. We're old. We do the kind of old man thing. I like taking my dad, but the guys trips where there's 3 or 4 guys. Here's why that doesn't work when you're my age. I'm not sharing a room with some other guy. So I'm definitely not sharing a room with 3 or 4 guys. So everything changes when you get older, I think. Oh, there's my wife and son are on. What's untrue? What's untrue? My own wife is calling me a liar. 36 hours till Ian goes to Singapore. Nice, man. Nice moves for sure. Verges is a CPAP nation. Do you have the CPAP in its own shoulder? Yeah, I keep it in my own shoulder pack. It doesn't go in any other pack where it'll get lost or dropped or thrown around. I keep it. Good souvenirs to bring back from Lima. I don't know, man. I don't buy souvenirs. I thought they would have all these little stuffed alpaca toys and stuff, but apparently that's not so much Lima as it is Cusco and outside of Lima. Good. I did get my wife some souvenirs. She probably won't like it, but I got her some chocolate coffees. Apparently you can eat those and they have a lot of caffeine. And I got some of the chocolate we tasted at our tour. This is a blueberry chocolate that I bought for me. But yeah, so I got some little stuff like that. Nothing big. I don't usually buy anything besides a magnet. I feel like it adds extra effort to my traveling. I'm trying to figure out the most convenient path. The CPAP, it's just a pain in the butt to carry. But guess what? You'll die if you don't use it. Jesus. David William, you weren't here for the beginning. We're not into any of that. We're not into any of that. But it's a funny joke. I don't know if they have. Yeah, they do have that here, because when I walked over by the bar district, people kept bothering me about it. I don't know how much of it, though. I don't. Brady Smith's in the house. Oh, and I did meet Brady Smith in New Orleans. Him and his brother are super cool dudes. Escaping the Ohio cold tomorrow, heading to Jamaica. Brady does some nice work. Brady walks the walk. Nice work, Brady. If you've never been to Jamaica, you might like it. You might love it. In any case, being in the Caribbean in January is big league. You are doing it right. I get all the naps I want. Yeah, but I don't take a lot of naps when I'm home. I don't take a ton of naps anymore when I'm home. You picked everything I've said in the last 2 hours, and you picked that. Oh, King Sam's down in Jamaica, man. Brady, hook up with King Sam. He'll take you to all the dunes, river falls, and all the cool places. Take him, hey King, take him to one of those one of those grills where you can smoke cigars outside and hang out all night and listen to music. That's where I would go. Oh, by the way, Amanda Holt is actually the Realtor of the Month here in Columbus, Ohio. So give her a round of applause. She's absolutely killing it in the real estate world. And she's why I can afford all these fun things for the most part. Fly Singapore at least one time. Yeah, trial, do death. One of the very few I've not flown, but I usually fly out of DC. Yeah, I don't think they have. I don't know. I don't know if they don't have a fifth freedom flight out of DC. But I don't want to go to Frankfurt, Germany again. But I really want to fly Singapore. So I might fly to Frankfurt just to take a train somewhere else, because it was that. And the hard product wasn't even that great. It was the old hard product, so it wasn't super. But the staff was that impressive. All right, we got some congratulations to the wife. She is working super, super hard to support her. She's my sugar mama. She's supporting her old man. Oh, King Sam likes buying a keychain from each airport. Yeah, that's cool. We just do the magnets. And I think the thing about the magnets is, every time you go to the kitchen, you might get a flashback of a cool memory. There you go. Appreciate the congratulations to the breadwinner of my house. And guys, I think that's all I have as far as the banners and the topics. But I think we had a good one here, guys. I think with the addition of JP Knowledge and some of the other guys here, solo travel is really cool. Lexi says I'm a stud, Uncle Luke. Well, thank you, sir. Thank you, Lexi. And Mandy Lynn says thank you. Yeah. Here's I'll even go out on a limb here, guys. I think a solo trip for some people, it might be the most beneficial to the people who wouldn't otherwise want to do it. If you're somebody who thinks that you might not like it, try a couple days. Some people have to be around other people all the time, and I get that. But this has kind of opened my eyes to a different part of traveling. I think it's super cool. Thank you, Trow. Oh, yeah, I appreciate it. If you do use, I do have all my links in the description of this live. If you guys want to use them, I unapologetically promote them because it gets me stuff, and I am not ashamed at all about that. I actually, one of my goals for 2025 was to try to promote links a little more, because traditionally I have not gotten a whole bunch of referral points, but something I want to work on. And I want to make more videos, of course. David says, thanks for the tips. Trying to get some good redemptions this year in Europe. Still new to the game. Anyone else in their 20s doing solo trips? Here's the crazy part. I see a lot of people in their early 20s doing solo trips, and I've particularly seen solo female travelers, which is super cool. And I think female travelers more so than guys. When me and Glenn Ardonia were in Dubai a couple years ago, there was a single female on a tour with us. And she says she goes everywhere by herself. I was on a tour, my food tour. It was just me and one other person. She was by herself. So a lot of people are doing it. Adeline says this is her favorite stream. She's 2 and getting into credit cards. I like your style, Adeline. Nice moves. Filmo's got the perspective, man. His favorite solo trip is when everyone leaves. He's just hanging out the house. I would not dispute that at all, man. It's not a bad gig. Jared, thank you, sir. Yeah, I'm excited to get back to the Arctic weather. I need I like my structure and my routine, and I like my family, so I got to get back and rejoin them. Trial was just in Frankfurt. Hated the airport. Wow, I liked Frankfurt, but I just don't plan on going there again. I like the airport too. We went to the Lufthansa lounge. It wasn't spectacular, but it was spacious and big, and I liked it. I liked the German security guards with the MP5s. I like Germany's airport. There's nothing really touristy or anything fun for me to do in Frankfurt besides take a train and leave. But they do have a lot of quality redemptions to Frankfurt that you can kind of use as a jumping off point. I like the Frankfurt airport though. Jordan wants to know, how hard is it to fit a family of 4 in one room on international trips? My wife and I are 2 small children. I'm going to say it's very difficult, and I don't know if you can do it anywhere in Europe unless you get a suite or a room without occupancy. Standard rooms won't allow you to do that. The alternative I have found that just saves me the huge headache is I get 2 standard rooms. When we go to Portugal in a couple months, I got a king room and a double room. So we'll figure that out when we get there. But the points cost was low enough. It wasn't that big of a deal for us to do that. And honestly, my wife's still on here. She'll tell you, if you cram us into a small room at certain times, it's not fun for anyone. Not a good time. So it's worth getting an extra room. I don't know how you do that with 2 small kids, unless you can get adjoining rooms. But that's definitely hard in Europe. I don't know about other parts of the country or parts of the world, but I know in Europe they do have very strict rules about occupancy, and it becomes a huge pain in the butt. No, we do have Boxer. We do have another box of Snick Snacks. I haven't seen it, but as soon as I get home, we're gonna start, and we'll have it on the next live. So we'll definitely have international Snick Snacks and questions for Carlos 2 weeks from now, back in the frozen tundra of Ohio. It's just Charles misses me. I miss Charlie too. I'm gonna. It's probably past his bedtime. Charlie, go to bed. Yeah, King Sam, just book a room with 2 queens. You'll be fine unless it's a super small room. Yeah, the problem though, Sam, is in Europe. In a lot of places in Europe, they will actually fine you or kick you out of the hotel if you don't cooperate with the occupancy restrictions. Europe is just really weird in some of those places where that's a very strict rule. Not everywhere though, and I don't know where you're staying. I'm late. How's Peru? We're looking at going for 9 days in June. June is 9 days. You're probably going to Machu Picchu and Cusco and all that. Peru's really cool. Alpha Taylor, you'll probably want to rewatch the beginning of it because talked a lot about Peru and how different it was than some other places. But yeah, I definitely think it's a cool place. Look at the bed hog. Did my wife just call me a hog? Have you tried the coca leaf products? No, but it is really common here. And from what I've been told is more common for the rural workers that come here for construction jobs. I was waiting for my tour guide yesterday, and a guy sitting next to me on a park bench was rolling up some coca leaves and chewing on them. And the guy said, yeah, he's getting ready to go to a construction site. And it's just something a lot of those guys will do so they can push through and work all day. But no, I haven't tried. I'm not going to try any coca leaves. Jordan's dead set on boosting his MR points balance this year. What is a card that would go with player 2's gold card? Big fan of Hilton. Yeah, I highly recommend all the Hilton cards if you're a fan of Hilton. They don't have family language with them quite yet, but it might make sense to start with the no annual fee one. But I love the Hilton cards. If you want to help with the gold card, I think the Blue Business Plus is a must for that catch-all. So I think you're going with the Blue Business Plus. Depending on how you spend, the green card might make sense for you. I don't like the overlap with the green and the gold, so I think I would pair with my gold card a Blue Business Plus. And if you are a big fan of Hilton, I don't think you can go wrong with any of their cards because you can upgrade and downgrade those as you see fit. So get all the Hilton cards. Ha! Keep me honest. Alpha, I have not had a chance to eat the guinea pig yet. I'm going to give it a shot tomorrow if I can find one, but apparently that's more of a Cusco Andes Mountain thing than it is a Lima City thing. But if I can get a chance to taste some, I'm going to. Yeah, Blue Business Plus is a big earner. All right, guys, we are going to give this about 5 more minutes. This is a long one for you guys. Normally, I'm asleep by now. So I'll catch up on any questions we have in the next 4 or 5 minutes. But I just want to say now that I appreciate every single one of you that came on tonight. You know, like a lot of guys say, you could be anywhere, but you're here with me. Does not go unnoticed, and I like doing these lives. I plan on continuing doing them every 2 weeks, or I may cut it down a little bit, but I definitely want to keep doing them. StreamYard raised the prices on us exponentially. So, but I think it makes sense for me to do these lives because I do get to connect not one-on-one, but personally with a lot of different people, and they're fun. They're nice. And I love doing them when I'm on location. I did not know. Sorry. What she's talking about, guys, is in Cusco and close to the Andes Mountains, they have these what they look sort of like fight clubs or MMA fights in the rural areas. I could not find a tour that could take me to one, so I didn't go watch the fights. My little boy wanted me to try to participate in one, but I'm pretty sure those folks that live at elevation at 11,000 feet in the Andes Mountains don't get tired. And your Uncle Luke would get tired super quick. So I don't think it would be a good idea for me to fight anybody at 11,000 feet elevation. But no, I didn't see any fights, which sucks. But you know, can't get everything. Yeah, John R. Guys, if you haven't watched John R.'s channel, check it out. He's starting to do some lives. And he's another guy, like I always say, he has a little bit different perspective. He's a solo trip guy. He's a single guy. So definitely a different perspective. He's another Midwestern guy, and he's a big Megadeth fan, which is probably all you need to know to watch his lives and watch his channel, because Megadeth is super cool and John's super cool. Boxer says he kind of feel like he cheating on his Blue Business Plus. Just got his Chase Inc. Unlimited numbers from back home and activated. Yeah, I like 2 times on the Blue Business Plus better than 1.5 on the Ink Unlimited, but I do realize that. Oh, I'm sorry, John. Hold on. I do realize that chase points make more sense to some people. Listen, Iron Maiden. John's an Iron Maiden guy, which is what I meant. It's late. You guys know it's my bedtime, so I'm a little bit tipsy. But yeah, he's an Iron Maiden guy, man. Run for the hills and all that good stuff. So that makes him cool enough to watch his channel, Iron Maiden. They're of the same family, same church, different pew, something like that. Okay, so Alpha, you found reward redemption at this Hyatt Centric in Lima, Peru for 8,000 points. Let me tell you about that, and somebody can chime in. That Hilton Centric is in the San Ysidro neighborhood, which from what I understand, there's no reason for you to go there. It's the financial district. It's not a place where you're going to find the cool restaurants and the bars and the anything you would want to do as a tourist. It's kind of in a boring, stuffy working place. So because I originally booked that because that is a great deal, but it seems to be like it might be farther away from a lot of attractions. So they told me that I wanted to stay either in Barranco or Miraflores, and we're in Miraflores. So just a tip. I didn't book that because I was told it wasn't in where I wanted to stay. Here we see Alpha's got it all. Alpha's got it all taken care of, man. We're going to see them both in one shot. Megadeth open for Iron Maiden. That's interesting because I don't know. Maybe I would think Iron Maiden might open for Megadeth, but John will probably kill me for saying that. How far by taxi? San Ysidro to Miraflores. It's only going to be maybe $5 taxi, but I didn't mention it because it is the traffic in Lima is not like anything I've ever seen, and it's really not like anything I could even explain. I spent 2 hours in a taxi to go 15 kilometers the other day. So it's amazing how dense the traffic is, and it's all stop and go, and it's so I wouldn't want to be too far away from the attractions. I've walked as much as I can. Some of the taxi or not taxi, but Uber rides takes a long time to go a short distance. Okay, so he saw Megadeth back in 2012. Nice. I bet that was a great show. Yeah, Maiden's been around longer. Yeah, I can see that. They've probably played on each other's tours, I imagine. All right, guys, I'm going to sign off for tonight. Like I said, appreciate you guys. Appreciate you guys stopping by. Do a solo trip. Have fun. Redeem your points any way you want. Cash them out if you want. And I'll see you guys in 2 weeks. 2 weeks, we'll have international snick snacks, questions for Carlos. And if you want any topics talked about, put them in the comments or one of the community posts. Until next time, guys. See ya. Safe travels.